Well, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here. As always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Well, thank goodness we had daylight savings time. I got an extra hour of sleep because our friend Allie, Eagle fans, they were here last night. We're playing spades till like 3 a.m., so I'm a little bit behind. But good thing I got an extra hour of sleep because I got to make some Colorado chili. Now, Colorado chili is a little bit different than your typical chili. It's really more of a big stew. And I started this actually yesterday. This is going to be an abbreviated version of it. But what I've done is, if you go to like your World Market or your regular grocery store, you get yourself some of these dried peppers, poblano or ancho peppers, and they're very, very flavorful, aromatic, and they're dried. So what I did was I took those and I soaked them in some water for about an hour. And then I put it in the microwave for about 30 seconds just to warm it up a bit, and pulled off the stems and took out the seeds. Then I took myself, because I grow a lot of peppers, I took a couple of my red peppers that I have, and I took one of those ancho peppers, along with the juice that was in there. And I took that and I ended up putting it in the Ninja here, and it made this paste. Now this paste is just the peppers right there. You can see right there, just the peppers. You can see the red color, which is the color. It's like a red chili that you get in here. And this is basically just onions and, of course, your stew meat. So I got my stew meat yesterday. And what I do, and I'm a little different because I'm going to mark eyes at something. I took the stew meat yesterday, put it in a bowl. I ended up putting some of my, some cumin. I ended up putting chipotle chili powder on it. Ended up putting salt and pepper and cayenne pepper in it. Put a little balsamic vinegar with it, and a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And I let that marinate overnight, okay? And so what that'll do, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's got it wet, not overly wet, okay, but it's got wet. But all those spices and flavors will infuse inside of it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take some flour, or actually not flour. We're going to take some of this and we're going to sprinkle on it, get the cast iron skillet really, really hot, and we're going to brown it. And in the meantime, while we're doing that, we're going to go ahead and soften up some onions in there, and then we're going to end up putting those together. This is actually a really simple chili. It's basically going to just need a slow cook, so that way the beef gets nice and tender. The flour here, of course, will help it to thicken up. You're going to use some beef broth in it to give it a little extra flavor. You're going to use tomatoes. I'm going to use some of my mother's tomatoes, and it'll give it kind of a earthy taste to it, and a bit of a heat, not a whole lot of heat. Those ancho peppers aren't real hot. That's where I put in a couple of nice chilies in there as well, just to give it a little bit more heat, and then we'll season it up as we go. So I'm going to get started getting everything good and hot so I can brown my meat and I can soften my onions. And I can drink my coffee. I just love Gameday. Oh, I love my Gameday. Get that sucker on high. Start cutting these onions. And then we'll put the flour. We'll basically just take and just pour some of the flour on it, and we'll end up mixing it together, so that way it's just kind of flour coated. So we're just going to go like this and just kind of mix it in there onto it. And as that cooks down, what will happen is that will become a thickening agent. This will be a great chili because it's going to be about 50 degrees outside today. So having chili in weather like this is actually good because we do our live streams outside. We have the patio heaters and stuff, but you still want a little extra heat in here. You know, something that's going to be warming the inside. We'll have our chicken wings and some burgers to go with it as well. Okay, so you can see, boom, that's about enough on there just to give you some extra browning in the pan, and then we'll use some of that broth to go ahead and pull that extra flavor off and put it in there. So that's what you got for the basic ingredients, really. It's not a whole lot really in this. I'm going to probably, when I say markize it, that's where I'll take a recipe and I'll make it my own by adding a few things. I love black beans, and I'm going to probably add some black beans to it just to help fill it in a little bit more. Okay, boom. We'll set that over here, and we're going to get started on these onions. We do about 3 or 4 onions in here to get it. These are kind of smaller onions here. Can't seem to get going this morning. I'm kind of like, need more coffee. Now I'm going to leave these a little bit chunkier. These are about 3/8 of an inch square here. I'm going to put one more onion here, but I've got my frying pan is actually really good and hot, so I'm going to switch you guys over here so you can see exactly what we're doing with the meats. Yeah, Philly, I know. Mark Holmes, I'm coming for your meats. Okay, that sucker's good and hot. Okay, just gonna take some of this meat Take some of the meat here and we're just going to brown that. We just want to seal coat it. All right, so we're coming down the tail end side here of the meat's getting cooked. This is the last bit of it. You can see, look at that. You see that beautiful color. See it's steaming. You can see that it's been browned, so it's sealed up on all the edges. The onions, you can see, are softened now. So those are good, and they're translucent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my mom's homemade tomatoes. I'm going to put a jar of those in there. That's going to help that red color. And start getting that hot. And then we're going to start putting in some of that chili paste. And then we can put the meats in here along with our seasonings. And then it's just a matter of letting time take care of it. The other thing I'm going to do here, because all of that brown stuff that's on the bottom, that's more flavor. I'm going to take some beef stock and I'm going to hit the bottom of the pan. One, it'll make it a lot easier to clean, but two, it'll also pull up that extra flavor. And give us some more juice for this to simmer. So you can start to see, I need a taller tripod here, or a shorter pan. But you can see, we've got one jar of the tomatoes. I'm going to let that one get hot, then I'm going to add another one in there. And then we've got our paste right here. This is, look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. And that's where we start getting our red color from. Beautiful color. Can you see that color? Hence the Colorado red. That's where all the flavor is, right there. That's hot. I made a little bit of a mess, but you can start seeing what we're getting here. Now we're going to add some more of that beef broth. We're going to add another jar of these tomatoes, and we're going to add the beef in here. See if you guys can see this. We add some more of that beef broth to it. But we're just going to basically let this slow cook down. We're about 5 hours from kickoff. All right, I'm going to put a lid on it and let it do its thing for the next few hours. I'll come back. I'll add cumin to it. I'll end up adding some more salt. I will be adding cumin, salt, and stuff to taste, and just let it simmer down till the meat gets nice and tender. That's it. All right, we'll come back and check on it. All right, so here's what we have right here. You can see it's beginning to cook, and it's getting that red color to it. You got the meat and everything else. It's got a long ways to go, but you can start tasting it a little bit now. Don't go too crazy with all the seasoning right now. You want to get the basic in there, but you want to kind of finish it off. Because see, what's going to happen with this is, as I taste this, and let me get you a spoonful of it, you can look at this. All that color right there is actually all the flavoring, because you've got the beef broth that's in there. You've got our chili paste that we've made, which has a lot of seasoning into it, just from the natural peppers. And because we took the meat having the cayenne, having the cumin, having the chipotle chili powder, all that being soaked into it, it's infused in there. So what's going to happen over time is those flavors are going to marry up, and they're going to infuse each other. So don't go crazy now with the seasonings, because it's going to change. Now, the main thing is that's probably missing is salt, because you may need to add a little salt, or maybe add a little bit of cumin to it. Now see, this is nice because I put the chili peppers in there too. It's got a good kick along with the cayenne pepper, and it's actually very smooth. And you can see, because we browned the meat in with the flour, it's already got a nice thick base to it. So watch that as it cooks down. You may want to add I may add another jar of tomatoes in here with it, just to give it a little extra liquid, or more beef broth, so that way it doesn't become too thick of a soup. But this is going to definitely be, look, oh, wait. All right, so it's been about 3 hours that the chili's been slowly cooking, and I'm gonna put it in a crock pot here in a few. But you can see, let's take a look at it. You can see how nice and thick that is. You can see the red color, and this is where you want to start tasting it and kind of tweaking it. Look at the meat and stuff in here. The meat is beginning to get tender, but I'm gonna let it cook for a little bit longer, just to make sure that it just kind of falls apart in your mouth. But this is nice and thick and hearty, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some yellow rice with this, and we'll have tortillas, which is traditionally how you would have this served as a meal. And with it being a cold day, this is going to be perfect. Now, again, the thing about cooking is I always like to take a recipe and then Markize it, or Jobuize it, however you like to, experiment with it. Me, I love black beans, so I'm going to actually put some black beans in here. I know that's not traditional, but you don't want to be an exact copy. You want to change things up a little bit, but you look at this. Oh, this is just gorgeous. And we're going to let that simmer for about another hour. About 12 o'clock, I'll put it in the crock pot, put it downstairs, and then it's ready to be served. So that's it. All we got to do now is eat it. Can't wait for that.